gonna take over. We'd like to excuse David Barrett and Mayor Bird today. Other than that, are we missing anyone?
No.
No else is here. I will give the opening prayer and Lieutenant Tucker will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this day, grateful to meet here as the city council and staff and citizens of this great city. We pray that as we discuss the items, we'll be able to make decisions that will best serve our residents and those that we serve. We're grateful for those who risk their lives and serve to protect us, and pray that God bless and watch over them. Pray for guidance in all that we say and do this night, and as we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Just for the record, this is a regularly scheduled meeting. Everything, postings, notices have been properly filed and followed. We will now have minutes first. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Councilman Wire, we just had the one you caught on number 15, which we gave to Sunshine to correct the word by to but. Other than that, I move we approve with the correction.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second by John Clark and Cody Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Do I vote?
Yes, you still do vote
Okay.
when you're pro tem.
Motion passes. Now we like to open it up for the public. If there's anyone here from the public wanting to have 3 minutes to share a concern or anything, we'd let you do that at this time. Seeing none.
Is this where you want me to do it? I may, I'm not sure. We have some issues with
Can
the
you
airport.
state your name and?
Yes,
Come up to the podium.
I'm sure. My name is Sherry Gurr, and I am here on behalf of my father, Leon Ross, and there's an issue with the airport runway that we would like to address. I don't know if it's something that you would like me to address now, or if you would like me to wait.
Do we have anything about this on our agenda for later? So what we'll do, we can't make any decisions, but you're welcome to state what your feelings are or what concerns you have, and then we can address those in a later time.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna just go back a little ways. Back in March 23rd, 2004, I'm sorry, we were approached by Armstrong Consulting, which was doing the airport expansion for the runway. The airport was not compliant to have any FFA funds available for that expansion. In order for them to be compliant, they had to have a buffer zone around the runway, which my father owns the property. They approached my dad and wanted to purchase the property. They came to a meeting. He had a meeting with the mayor at the time, which was
Sullivan.
Sullivan, yes, or Orm Sullivan was the name. They made an agreement in lieu for the property sale. So that was all done, and I'm actually gonna have Jennifer come up here and help me because she's been doing a little bit of research on this as well. So, all right, so March 7th, there was an agreement. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let her talk. I'm sorry, just tell me what to say. I'm gonna make you talk.
I'm not sure about the property sale, but, we have a letter dated June 24th of 2004 between, with Max Leon Ross and the mayor that says, as requested, we will try to formally indicate the city of Roosevelt's intention regarding the construction of a taxi lane from the runway to your property. During discussion with Brad Hancock, it is agreed that you would be granted access from your property north of the runway. We have agreed to perform the site preparation and grading. The city will perform the paving. Your side of this agreement will be that you will sign the purchase offer attached. So along with the transfer of properties, Leon was granted access with the taxiway to the airport.
No, thank you. So, so my father was to rough in the taxiway from the runway to his property. And then they would do the paving and the final approach, from his property to the runway. He was granted access to do through the fence, cut the fence and rough in the property, which he did. And I do have a map here showing. Then also Armstrong Consulting did do, and I can provide you guys with this and you can make copies. This is just showing where they went and so this here is the runway.
The taxiway.
Yes, the taxiway, I'm sorry. So with all of that being said, we signed the property, we did the sale. My father sold the property pennies on the dollar in order for an exchange for this. We have several building lots that are down there and he would like to have that access. So that was part of the agreement. Now, so go ahead.
Obviously, that work hasn't been done. Max did do some direction for that.
He roughed it all in, and as you can see here on,
I think what we're gonna need to do with this is have you meet with our city manager. We're just don't have the time tonight, but I think that this is something that meeting with him, and then we can get whatever we need to do, if it needs to be an agenda item, where we can discuss it more. But it looks like you have paperwork in order, and we just need to follow up and see where we're at, and if we haven't followed the schedule, why not, and what we can do.
yeah, it just, I would like to see it being taken care of. I feel like that we done our part. We have a letter that is signed from the mayor stating that, hey, yes, it went to the city council meeting, it was approved, everything has been done. And then, when it's time for the work to be done, now they're like, oh, wait, we can't do that, it's gonna cost too much money. Well, that was the agreement.
Is that acceptable to you, that we'll get you in touch with Josh and
Yeah.
and our other staff and get that?
Can I say something? Yeah. I dealt with Brad and the city council, mayor, attorney, everybody approved this. And then I asked Brad about, rushed it in, I said, no, I opened, I cut the gate, the fence, and we lost it. I cut the fence and graded it clear to my property to the runway. You can see a picture of all the maps and all the, it was all done. The excuse that they had is, they moved the road up north there, they didn't have any money left. And the next year, they let their money to Z5 City or something, they didn't have any money, they didn't want wrong. I feel like I haven't been paid, I didn't want my property back. like my taxiway in the deal that they did, yeah. that they agreed on.
Well, that's something that I think we'll have to go through and see what happened and why that wasn't.
It's been 19 years and that's quite a while. I had a hangar there and they asked me to move it. It was sitting down in the new taxiway about 4 feet or so. So it's been on a trailer and a truck there by the airport for 4 years now. And we need to do something. I mean, this is I'd rather need to get an attorney and there's coaches or whatever. The city is in default. I mean, they're not keeping her into the contract up. And, I'd like to do it. The thing is, it would be beneficial to the city to have some stuff on the other side of the road there. You know, they've done everything wrong when they built that. When they built the hangar, they put on the south side of the roadway. The door faces the north. Nobody places in a door, a big building to the north or to the west. And if they would have put it on the north side, they would turn around, the office would have been on the east side. In the mornings, it'd have nice sunshine, in the mornings it'd be nice and warm. It's cool and shady in the afternoon. In the daytime, it would have melted all the ice away. It would have been closer to load coming in. And then when they put the other hanger in, I put my hanger in, I think they must have given some kids some blocks or something. Just go about there, kids put where the hanger should be. I put my hanger in where they told me. The next one, they put about 30 feet ahead of mine, it's in mine. The next one, we got one facing kind of northeast, we got another facing south, another facing. I mean, it's a mess. Yeah. And so any more hangars, if they build them, they can put them on the north side where my property is there. They'd be facing the south, and it's like a. One other thing here, we got a lot of sand out there, and there's some people that want to move that sand out of there, and they put a restriction. Right. That sand, I'd like to try to get that lifted off.
All right. Well, are you acceptable to meet with Josh and see what we can figure out?
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that to us. It's hard for us because we didn't know any of this was going on.
I would say we appreciate you coming and letting us know, because we would like to work through the process so you don't have to litigate anything, and we do want to make this right as best as we can, but again, those decisions were made by past people.
Don't say that, they said, well, they said Brad done it, well, it wasn't only Brad done it. The city council done it, the mayor done it. Everybody, the attorney did it, everybody had, just, that took a little process to do it. We did it in good faith, you know.
Hopefully we can meet with you and get something worked out.
Let's see if we can do something about this.
Well, that's something that Josh can look at and see what we.
I talked to Jay Art about it a little bit, he said he didn't see the problem with it. As well, got sand, we'll take the sand, I've got a beer, but they can't do that because I'm a big loader, I can push it all. Anyway.
Let's get this figured out, okay? Thank you for bringing that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, thanks for letting us. Let's put item G, airport task on the agenda.
Let me see.
That's for just the runway or the pavement preservation,
Okay.
just for the cracks in the
Okay.
We're just not able to make any decisions, but we will take under consideration what you've said and get you in touch with Josh. And
I'll get with Josh and we'll see if we can get it worked out.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you very
That's
much.
harder
Thank
than
you.
we've got in a long time. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Any other comments? Community members? Seeing none, we'll move on. Do we have any committee appointments tonight?
We already have numbers though, so I don't believe so.
I don't have any. Perfect. We'll turn some time to Josh for recognition.
Thank you, Councilman, appreciate that.
So we've got a very special recognition tonight. Someone very deserving. He's been doing some incredible things here at Roosevelt City. If you follow the local media or the statewide media, you might know who I'm talking about. I'd like to have Rose please come up front real quick. and Chief and Lieutenant Tucker for doing it as well. Rose has no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I have a little write-up from Lieutenant Tucker that I'd like to read, and I just would like to point out that I know Chief and I agree with this 1,000%. We are proud to recognize Rose Arnold for exceptional performance as a leader at Roosevelt City Animal Shelter. Her ability to inspire and guide our team, coupled with innovative thinking, has been truly remarkable. Rose consistently demonstrates the qualities of a visionary leader, steering her team toward success. Her knack for generating fresh ideas has invigorated our projects and contributed significantly to our organization's growth. Additionally, Rose excels in working independently, showcasing remarkable self-motivation and unwavering commitment to achieving goals. Her dedication to excellence and capacity to think outside the box make Rose a vital asset to our team. And we extend our sincere gratitude for her exceptional contributions. As I said this past week, if you have not followed the news, KSL did a wonderful article on Rose and the incredible effort that she's done at our animal shelter. And I would like to point out, we have this recognition started before KSL decided to showcase her, but that's how awesome she is that the entire state needed to be aware of the incredible things that she's doing. And I just gotta tell you, someone like her is truly a diamond in the rough that is willing to work so hard at the animal shelter, a place where literally is a crappy job. Hate word like that, and she's always smiling, and she will fight tooth and nail for what's right. She cares about her animals. She cares about the employees there. She is a remarkable employee, and we are so fortunate to have her. We'd like to present her with a certificate of appreciation. Tell her thank you. We are going to take you and your entire staff out to lunch. We're coordinating that with Chief and Lieutenant Tucker, but we want to make sure that all of you are invited. But we want to thank you for all you've done. You've truly been incredible, Rose.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. That's very nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Well deserved. Thanks. Okay, on to our action items. Looks like Rose is up again.
And it was just for the final approval on the
Resolution
wording. Yeah.
adopting and
for the
amendment to
discounts.
Consolidated fee schedule. This is what we talked about.
Yeah.
So this, Rose and Lieutenant Tucker and I got together and we feel pretty confident that this represents the intention of what she was discussing at the previous meeting that you all approved of. But in addition to her fee schedule amendments, if you'll, we had the fire department fees that were also discussed. And this is the same draft that was presented at the last meeting. And then there were also, we never discussed it at the last meeting, but there were also very minor formatting corrections that were made to the water fee schedule. If you'll scroll, please. There were just some things like where it says $5 per 1,000 gallons, the 1,000 gallons had moved to a lower line, really, really basic things like that.
All right. Good. Any discussion?
No, I move we approve. We've already discussed these, so I'm pretty comfortable. Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Don Rudenbark and a second by Flower. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. And now we will move to Roosevelt City Duchesne.
You're able to put it up on the screen. It's fine. Unfortunately, we've got Jason Young with us here tonight. I'm going to scroll down just to the highlighted points. And Jason, I think everything else is agreed upon. Is that right?
Yeah, just the one.
Okay. So if we can scroll down, this one right here, we changed the language a little bit. Jason, I assume you've had a chance to look at that.
Yeah, I got it about an hour and a half ago, and I've been able to go through it and talk to some more other people. And honestly, we're appreciative, work with you guys. We know there's been a lot of give and take, and you've given, a lot too. So we're good with that. The Wednesdays we'll go with.
Okay, so if we
Appreciate
go
the
down.
7. It's really just the temperature is the only last thing. We're a degree or two off, and we're there.
Okay, let's go down a little bit more then. And Edwin, maybe if you could come up. Talk about temperature. This is the language that we had originally put in the agreement, we being the city, had originally put it in. Jason had responded, reviewing it with his board, and it sounds like getting some input from students, coaches, where it was coming from, about some issues that they have with the temperature. Jason had made a proposal that we agree to have it no higher than
82 or something or other.
82.
I think it was the USA swim rules, 77 to 82 point something. 82.
Okay. So then I had forwarded Jason's request on to Edwin, wanting some input, and the response is that this is really what we feel like we have to do for the city. And Edwin, if you could kind of explain the process, I think it would help both the council and the school district understand why this is the wording that we're using, but that we are trying to get it as low as we can for their needs.
Yeah.
The hard thing with it there is we're trying to balance safety, of course, priority one for the swim team. We want to make sure they're safe. But at the same point, it's a multi-use pool, which is making that more difficult. We have water aerobics that there's some people there that get it too cool. We're going to lose them because they can't be in that cold of water. Infants can't be in that cold of water either. The reason why it's worded that way is because if we have it held at 81, I can't guarantee it will lock at 81 on all the practices. It takes forever to get even 1 degree to drop. I kill the temp at 11 a.m. and then I can get it down about 82-ish by the time their swim practices start. And then, yeah, that's the fun part, is trying to get it down that 1 degree takes that much time. So about 3.5 hours to get it roughly around just that period. So.
And no, the only way that we have to cool it is to stop heating, correct, Edwin? We don't have coolers on it. And so my concern with putting language in there that it will be no higher than 82, it's just that we have fairly limited control where we can't cool it. All we can do is stop heating.
Yeah, so I think our biggest concern here too, and we didn't know what you kept the pool at, but the way you read that though, is that the temperature of the pool could be 100, 150. I mean, it could be any temperature. The only guarantee we have at practice is if it gets below 81, you're going to turn the heater on. But there's no maximum to it. And that's where we felt like we can't sign an agreement where it could be 212 degrees and boiling and still contractually okay. So if you read through that carefully, that way you can see that we can't agree to that.
So normal set point for general public is 83 during swim team season. And then, like I said, by 11 a.m., I just kill heat. And then it will decrease till it hits about 82-ish on a practice day.
And we did try to incorporate that, but I see what you're saying, Jason.
Yeah.
But we could change the wording, because where we've got city will reduce the temperature from 83 to 81, we could explain that 83 is the set point, and so that's the temperature that it'll be cooling from starting at 11 a.m. Does that satisfy the school?
Yeah, closer, definitely, because that was not 100. But our guidelines with the USA Swim, whatever that's called, is 77 to 82. So we'd still, and that was kind of where our boards felt like the original conversation was around the cost that the cities to you have to lower the temperature and then raise it back up just for, you have to lower it for us, then raise it back up for the public. But that was costing a lot, and so that was where we felt like, okay, the quite a bit of money that we feel like we're paying, but really the temperature of the pool didn't really. I mean, they would prefer it in the 70s, so that's what they would prefer. But we felt like we didn't want to go to, even to 83. What's happening is the kids are puking when they swim and things, and what happens is the coach, to try to mitigate that, alters the practice, so it's not quite what they would want to do for the workouts. They're doing less than they want, but they're trying to get the kids out of the pool more frequently to cool off, and then shorter bursts and in and out a lot, so they don't overheat and puke and get sick. And so we thought that okay, that's great, good job, coach, keep doing that for the safety. But if we could just get that down a little bit for them, that would also help their safety. So that's why we would like to just see just the temperature of the pool will be a maximum of 82 or something like that, done. It's gonna, well, I mean, we're right there, we're a degree or two away, but it kind of makes a difference. Everybody I talk to, that degree or two is what is setting them over, yeah.
Well, and we're trying to get below the 82 already, because we're trying to go from 83 to 81. The problem is just that where we don't have the ability to cool the pool, that we don't know that we can guarantee anything. All we can say is when we'll stop heating it, and then Ed would experience that by stopping at 11, we are dropping from the 83 to the 81.
So yeah, and that makes total sense, but as far as like the timing and things, yeah, great, administratively,
Whatever you just.
wonderful, good job, but that wasn't really, it was just purely the temperature.
If I could add a little insight too, Fridays are the main issue because it's early out for school, so they start practice a few hours
Earlier,
early, and
right.
it's much warmer, and that's when most of the.
So you probably have to start almost not heating earlier
Yeah.
on Fridays.
Okay.
Could we try to,
I could push that window on the 11 o'clock back if I need to. So the only thing I'm trying to avoid too is, like I said, the water roads. They get done by like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So I could push that a little bit earlier if needs be, and that
and
should suffice that.
my opinion, and I'm not voting on this, but my opinion is that I'd like to see it closer to 81. I know that's hard, and I understand 1 degree, but I, for the safety of the kids, I'd like to see it a degree below than what the.
That's what we're already agreeing to.
On meet day, on meet day, it does, but on practice day, there's no guarantee at all.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking of is the meat day.
So I guarantee it, right after water roads the night before, I guarantee it. So I'm killing about 8, 9 o'clock the night before meet. So
And it takes, meet start at what time?
usually they'll be getting anywhere between 2 to 3
yeah.
hours. So
So it's taking 20 hours to go 2 degrees.
I could probably start later in the night, but to guarantee it, I would need a good chunk of time. I could estimate the exact time to figure out. But the other thing that's hard is air temperature, time of the year as it gets colder into the dead of winter, that does take longer. So,
That was actually one of the other things we thought of too. So you cut the heat at 11 and things probably gonna work out and things, but it's not, there's no guarantee of that. It's not, we could show up and it could be any temperature. We just felt like we wouldn't be able to agree to something like that that could risk the health of our kids.
What's the highest temperature you've ever seen in the pool?
when we first had the pool, we got it installed, 84.5 on the indoor pool, maybe 85.
Yeah.
What was the highest set point we set it
And
at?
that's obviously not what the swimmers want, but
No.
we've never seen it above that.
No, well, unless it's like a
Right.
it's open on a mechanical.
Malfunction on the heater or something.
So, but no, I've never, even like I said, like summer, I'll go to like 84 when swim team's not there. And then when swim season starts, like day after Labor Day, that set point drops to 83. So I could try to dip down to hit to that 82 that they're looking for.
So it looks like we just need to clean up the practice language a little bit for temperature, but I'd still like to try to, I mean, I know we can't guarantee, but I'd really like to, I mean, again, being an athlete, having been an athlete, I want to keep our kids safe that are utilizing that, and I would like to get as close to that 81, which is, looks like that's what we're trying to do as best we can.
I just looked up the USA swimming rules, and 82.4 is the maximum degree for competitions. But one thing to keep in mind as we've had discussions internally is this a swim team pool that the public uses, or is it a public pool that the swim team is using? Because that's one thing we need to keep in mind is the big burden of everybody, who's the burden is on, who's paying for this pool. And I'm not saying we raise it up super high. By any means, I think we should try to get to the competition rate. 82.4 is the required max for competitions. It doesn't say anything about practices, and I understand athletes need to have concerns about that, but there are concerns, athletes at down St. George, they still have to practice outside when it's really hot. There are times that we do have to do things that we don't necessarily like to do, but we do need to keep in mind, is this a public pool the swim team's using, or is it a swim team pool that the public is using? Just, that's one of the internal conversations we've had as staff that we do need to keep in mind.
You guys have heard that already, I'm assuming, with the.
Right.
Anyways, I mean, I came in just to talk over fees, and we had enough complaints that more than the time we talked on fees, just talk about how cold the pool is. So, and it goes on both sides, because I agree that, you know, safety is a priority, as the superintendent said, but at the same time too, what about the safety of the senior citizens that want to use it, that is too cold for them and the activity they're doing? Or even like infants and babies, like most families don't come to the indoor pool because it's too cold.
What's the, after practice or after meet, how long does it take to warm the pool? I know it's a lot of water and stuff, I'm just curious,
I could give the exact time frames, but it is a couple of hours.
So it's not, by the time it warms up, it's about time to close, is what you're saying, based on the.
I mean, if you've done night lap swim, I mean, you could already start feeling it's toasty again, so.
Right, so there'd be a couple hours after that it wouldn't be.
Easier to heat, longer time to cool.
Any thoughts? I think that the 83 to 81 is right on target for what we need to do. It's just that I don't know how to give a guarantee that it will be at least below 82.4. You know, and I think if we shoot for that, that's the best we can probably come up
That's kind of what I thought, if we could just say that, temperature would be
Then we'll make the
82 or
effort to
lower.
get it.
I think we'd be pretty
Is it
happy.
acceptable that we say that we make every effort to get it to that point? Because other than that, I don't know what else we can, well, I don't know, that we can guarantee.
Yeah.
But we could probably guarantee that it's not gonna be warmer than a certain temperature. That would be your concern.
That's what I've been shooting for all along, is not
So-
warmer than 82.
Pool's been heating since about 5:30, and I'm sitting at 82.5 on my set point right now. So, and that's been heating since 5:30. So,
Where was it when you?
when I checked earlier, because I thought this would come up there, it was sitting about around that point, actually, so.
It hasn't moved.
Yeah.
So what was it, 82.5?
82.5 right now, so I mean, we're already 1/10 right there. It's that 0.1 off.
So half
So
an
I
hour.
could do a better look to see what it is, because it might be already hitting the maximum threshold already. And I could evaluate maybe 1 to 2 days if that's possible, and then see if it's already hitting that, and then see if it's possible to, or I don't know your guys' thoughts on that.
I think the main sentiment from our board as we visited was mostly, for the amount of money that we've been asked to pay and we're willing to pay, surely we could get it down to the temperature that'd be safe for our kids. That was really,
That's the comment I was gonna make. We are asking for a pretty good chunk of money from you guys. So I do think we need to, make that part of our thought process. I mean, this isn't something for free we're giving them. We are charging them quite a bit of money, so. I think some concessions are okay on both sides.
Do we have any other, besides today, have you tracked temperatures when the swim team has been practicing or the meets?
Meets, I guarantee it. Like I always check on meet days to make sure it hit that. Practice days, the schedule already says, like I said, what it hits. I just by chance wanted to look to see where it roughly got down to in case the question came up. So, and I'd have to look closer, like I said, after it might be a little different versus when I'm seeing now versus January.
Just because it's colder, it probably
Takes
cools.
man to heat the pool because it's so naturally cold wall.
But in the winter time, I guess we were in a climate controlled building, but does it change how fast the pool cools, whether it's winter or hotter?
That's true too, it cools quicker if it's cold.
Yeah, you'd think it would, but since it's a climate controlled building, it probably doesn't change.
I would think, Councilman White, that what we need is Edwin to track, but we need to get the language right for this so we can approve it and the board can approve and move it on. And I would just say we just need to, somehow indicate we're gonna make every effort to get the temperature for practice around, 81, 82, whatever the language needs to say so that it's, that we can do that. And then Edwin can kind of monitor that and see time, et cetera, and figure out like Fridays if you need to start a little earlier.
Fridays, I can see that one.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that way you can accommodate as best you can. But if the more data you have, the easier it is to, okay, I know I have to stop the heaters at this time to get to this temperature, and we'll be good for practice and stuff for those times.
Any suggestions for language?
I don't deal with that a little. Did you say you could stop heating earlier than 11?
Yeah, so
What time?
maybe by 9 or 9:30, I would say 9:30 to play it safe.
And do you know roughly how much difference that'll make to start an hour and a half earlier?
I've got to look into see. I've got to look into more detail.
So you could probably make that change, and then I can add language like Dustin was suggesting, that we'll make a good faith effort to have it at 82 or lower for practice. That
82.4. That's what
It
you
sounds
said,
like,
maximum.
83 is your maximum that you keep it at all the time.
But if we stop heating the pool and see if we can guarantee the 82.4, that's what you're saying, correct?
Or less if you can.
Guarantee the 82.4.
Well, just not more than that.
Right, not more than that.
That's all, yeah, that's all.
Because like I said, it's stopping heat completely, so.
But then I can also put in there that the set point will not exceed 83 during the swim season, is that right?
As the general public though, but for them, they would need to say this.
Right, but we don't have the set point in there, so if you want to add that during public swim time, we won't raise it above 83, right? And so then you'll have a guarantee that it's not starting at 212. It'll be,
That would help, because that has a 0% chance of passing our board, but the other has a good chance.
Thanks for catching that, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I've been reading too many things from the legislator lately. I've been in Grant's world more than I should. I tell you, to be honest with you, I hate a cold pool too, so I'm totally in with every patron that wants it warmed up. I totally agree. So I work for just that purely the health and safety of those kids. I would be good already, of course, but it's just for them is all I'm trying to do.
okay, so unless you guys want something different, or if you want to weigh in any more, Jason, the changes that I'm planning to make are that I'll add a provision saying that the set point will not exceed 83 degrees during the time that this is in effect, meaning the swim season, not the years that it's in effect. That we'll stop heating it at 9:30 instead of 11, and that we'll make a good faith effort to have the temperature at 82.4 or lower for practice. I think we probably are going to need to put something about Fridays too, just noting that with the different practice times, it may not be
And I
as
gotta
well.
see how quick it gets down, because 9:30 might actually, I just gotta see when it actually hits the 82.4 at that point with making this change. Because maybe that might be enough. I just gotta see when the data when it actually dips down to that maximum.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. That sounds good.
Okay, I'll make those changes.
I'll start looking into that tonight, so I'm excited.
Were there any other changes or?
There were a few others, but it sounds like everything else is agreed upon. We incorporated the suggestions we got back from the school district with Edwin and Aaron's approval, with I think just one other exception, but they were okay with the wording. And substantively, I think it was the same, we just adjusted the wording.
The Wednesday thing, I guess the swim world is a Tuesday, Thursday thing. And so it's odd that we're on Wednesday and they always ask, what are you doing on Wednesday? It messes up our stuff. So we were hoping to avoid Wednesdays some to do that. But that was locked in pretty tight with a lot of the other things you get. So that was one of my phone calls today.
Did that-
Can we live with Wednesday, guys? And they're like, okay. And I said, good, because I'm done fighting that one. So we'll take Wednesday. We'll take Wednesday.
Okay, so I'll make these changes. I would suggest that here at City Council, we approve it with those changes, and then I'll get a copy over to Jason, and he can run it by his board and see if they can live with what
We meet Thursday, so.
I would move we approve with the changes that were recommended.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilman Roosevelt, second by Cody Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
Thanks for all your work.
Appreciate all you guys. Thanks.
Well, thank you.
Jason will have copies.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a few things from planning and zoning. Drew, you're up.
And ask of staff to review the pros and cons of giving up our right of ways, property that we own. The recommendation from staff would be to keep the easement for Roosevelt City for future utilities or whatever purposes we may need to use that, and sell the property back for minimal or $1 or whatever, because we can't give the property back. And I would add with the stipulation that they maintain that property as far as weed control and anything else that they need maintenance on that property. That would be the recommendation.
Would we then contact the homeowners and let them know the,
So case by case, as they come in, we have two at hand right now, one at this address and one on 500 West and 100 North as well, with Blue Apartments on.
okay,
There's one at that address as well. Troy Gadd is spearheading this, I guess you could call it. He's out of town today, but there's two at hand. He has the survey done already on these and identified. Like I said, I think we just keep the easement and sell back property, but would be the recommendation, and then handle it by case as they come in.
Do we need to vote on these one by one? Probably.
Probably.
Any discussion from council?
no, we talked quite a bit about this, and I know Troy's come in and talked to us about it, so I'd move we approve based on the recommendation from Drew on the Bellevue ROW
I'll second.
and
500 West.
the 500 West.
Motion by Councilman Roosevelt, second by Rodney Clower. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you, unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, 1 minute left, Josh. We're going to strike the zoning animal overlay discussion. Oh, sorry, no, we're not. That's gonna be the lot line adjustment for Greg Buxton. And probably both of those.
Well, we
Or
can
want to do the
report
other?
back on, you guys had asked us to go back to planning and zoning and get some information on what they didn't like about the overlay zone.
Right.
Drew and I did go back, we talked to them, and their answer was basically, they did understand what you guys were looking at with the overlay. They're just not in favor of it. They don't want to do anything that would expand animal rights within the city. They feel like when we went in and zoned it, that there was a conscious decision that had public input to start narrowing that down. And we talked to in the meeting about how with the overlay, that over time, there would naturally be fewer and fewer properties that were an acre or larger. And they acknowledged that, but said that they think that we'd already been through that process before, and we're trying to accelerate that by saying that you can't have them in the zone. And so they didn't change their position. They explained that they understand the overlay, that are opposed to the FPL. So their recommendation is not to adopt it. They're also very aware that you guys make a decision and just making a recommendation.
Didn't we also ask about Vernal on this one? What Vernal City was doing, or is that a different?
David asked.
Yeah, David. I thought Councilman Barrett asked about that last time.
I didn't check on Vernal on that. I did look into what Vernal was doing on grandfathered properties, but I didn't look at them.
One question that was asked for staff to identify how many parcels of property we would be dealing with 1 acre or larger within the zones that would be allowed. We have that data. There is 245 parcels of property that would be eligible for this. Now, keep in mind we did whittle down some of the large tracts of property that is undeveloped at this time. We went from 10 acres and below within that study. So it is quite substantial that we could be introducing animals into those lots.
Some of the other concerns that the planning zone brought up when we asked them to be more specific on what they didn't like about it, it was generally just that they feel like the majority of residents don't want that. But it really just gave 2 specific examples that I can remember. Smell was one, but they said even more than smell was the number of flies that come along. And that's about all the details they gave us. Do you remember anything else?
Just what you've already stated, the existing ordinance, they felt like it was adequate.
How many property owners were involved in wanting to try to preserve that? Just one.
Which Grant brought up in planning and zoning, they already under different provisions have that animal privilege.
So we can help them out and not cause any changes.
Well, he's grandfathered in right now, so he's able to have the animals. But part of the reason if you remember, this originally started with the request by Mr. Buxton for a rezone. When it came in here, we were saying, well, that looks like spot zoning, which I think everybody agrees that it would be. And so then we talked about the animal overlay, drafted some language, sent it back, and that was going to apply citywide. Now, the planning and zoning doesn't like that. And Mr. Buxton had asked to be put on again for that original zone change, which is the one that Drew is saying will be stricken because he was unavailable tonight. But he has said that he would still like to have his original request with the positive recommendation from planning and zoning voted on at some point by the council. But so it all started with just the one. We were looking at a solution that wouldn't be spot zoning, but would accomplish what he wanted, which is not just to be grandfathered in, but for those animal rights to continue if he were to sell the property. Because right now, if he sells it, the grandfathering ends.
What is your recommendation, Drew?
I think with planning and zoning's concerns, I think they are warranted as far as a full overlay. And also with his agenda item as far as the lot line adjustment and the rezone standing, it wasn't voted on. I think that would be something that you guys need to make action on. But tonight, where he's not here, I'd rather, Grant and I both would rather him here. He will be on the next meeting agenda. He just had some medical issues tonight.
I would just, my opinion is, I think I would move we table this till the next meeting, and I would be curious about if Vernal or any other cities have some similar type of thing, just what the language is, just not that we have to copy them, I'm just more curious what they do, because maybe there's something that we haven't thought of that they do that might help in this situation, because I hate to take away Mr. Buxton's rights when he sells it, but at the same token, I want to make sure, we're doing what's best for Roosevelt City. And so I would move we just table it for now and not worry about it and then discuss it at the next meeting, since he's not here anyway. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, so I don't know if there's a huge rush, but
I've got a question too, maybe it doesn't apply to the overlay, but as far as, annexation and expanding, we expand what happens in properties, say out in the cove that allow animals. Curious how that
They're gonna be grandfathered in
would just be grandfathered.
initially too, but then you guys will be setting what the zone is, and so you would be deciding, aside from the grandfather provisions, you would be deciding what would be allowed in those areas as they're annexed. But when they're initially annexed, it would be grandfathered.
and depending upon how we set the zone, then, you know, as long as we're not spot zoning, which I agree we don't want to do, then we should be okay.
Okay, we have a motion to table till the next meeting,
I'll second that.
second by Alan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
So the next two items we'll strike. Jim Dieter's zone change request. Have that on the map. So this one is a little on the unique side. It was zoned commercial years ago, in probably 2014. Fairly wide swath of property north of Highway 40. Okay, that's okay. So this would be just north of the Mud Flats Car Wash, to give you a little section here
On
on the north side.
the same side as Mud Flats?
No, it would be on the west side.
Okay.
Going north, almost to the 300 north.
Okay.
Road there. This parcel of property had a mobile home on, which was removed, which changed the land use, and within a commercial district, once the land use changes or the home is removed, then it no longer can qualify for a residential dwelling to be placed there. The owner, or the owner of the property is trying to sell it as commercial, not having a lot of success due to the fact that it is a full block on the north side of Highway 40. They're requesting to have a zone change, him and the neighbor to the north, so we would not be doing a spot zone, it would be in conjunction with the R16 zone to the north. And the request is to rezone this to an R16. We have had a public hearing in planning and zoning, which the planning and zoning body did pass and recommend that we do change that to an R16.
No reason why we wouldn't?
No, I think the use for residential in that area would be a lot on the, more on the forefront than commercial, I guess, at this point.
I'll move we approve then the rezone of the Dieter, that
Jim Dieter and.
Jim Dieter,
Do you have the name? Ames?
Ames, of the two lots.
Oh, here, sorry, it's right here.
Just the two lots
I thought I had it in there.
there on 400 East.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have the addresses up there.
Well, I'll clean it up if you have to sometime, but that's my motion for those two lots.
Okay.
Motion by Councilman Lusenbach to approve, second by.
I'll just make, I'll put the partial numbers in the motion if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The time change.
Maybe.
It only took 20 minutes.
Okay, next we have Josh.
Thank you, Councilman. So as you know, we passed a resolution, we're gonna put economic trust in the council. And what I've done here is, what we're seeking tonight is just some general guidance. We don't have a specific proposal. We want to get an idea from council of what you would like to see. Then we will go back and actually get some designs and get a true proposal for you. So the first pictures there, and you have it in your packet as well, is just ones that have been throughout the state and country. And then, so these are just general ones that other people have done. Some have been very basic, in God we trust. Some have done it by their logos. Some have done it in entryways of the building. And then the next page down, I basically took our council chamber, superimposed if we did a bigger logo, if we put in God we trust. Now the fonts can change. We have our blue logo or our seal. We have our old logo. There's different ones that we can do. So there's a lot of different options. Essentially right now is if we can just get a general idea, we can narrow something a little bit more down and bring it back to council for a final decision. So this is not a final decision, just general direction. Do you like it more behind you, in front of you, up above? Do you want to see more specifics on different colors, different sizes?
My personal opinion, both, I like it right here.
Yeah. I like it, I agree with Councilman Allen, I like it in front here of this, but I'm wondering if we, maybe the font or the look, like we picked 3 or 4 that we like and maybe have a vote on Facebook or something, or for the citizens. Just, I don't know, I just think it might be interesting. I'd say, let's not give them 100 choices, but I'd say we decide we want it here, here's some different looks, which one do you like the best, and let maybe the citizens, and you know, you could do 6 or 4 or whatever. But I agree, I think right in front of this would be ideal.
If staff would vote on it too, I'd be interested in.
Yes, I agree.
And you need more than that?
I do like the idea though of maybe having it like maybe when they come in the doors or something, or above the doors or something. Whatever we get, whatever font, I would like to get like a couple, like one maybe here and maybe one, because not everyone comes to council and sees it, but it'd be nice if it was where people are coming. So that would be my other recommendation, just because I think it's important.
Perfect, we can do that as well. So, do you like more of a metal design or more of a plastic? Do you like more color, more, basic metal?
Metal for me.
Yeah, I like the metal.
I think that would look more.
I bet UB Tech would probably be willing to work with us on that. So, yeah, I like the metal look.
Okay, perfect. We'll bring back some proposed designs. Okay, thank you.
Okay, on to the next. Drew, Public Infrastructure District Policy Approval.
Okay, this is the PID we've been talking about for quite some time. We're looking for a resolution approval just to initiate this process. The governing docs for this particular PID will come back for review and approval later, but in order for them to initiate this process, we need to adopt the resolution.
This is the one out by the airport, right?
Yes, correct.
Were there any concerns?
Not on the resolution. Grants reviewed, staff has reviewed. Recommendation would be to approve the resolution.
And this is just to initiate and then,
Later, the governing docs for this particular PID in depth will come back for review.
Any other thoughts on this discussion?
no, I move we approve if we're comfortable within the hours.
I'll second that.
A motion by Councilman Dusenbar.
We just have a clarification here. This is a policy, not resolution.
So we don't need to vote on it or anything?
Yes, we do, because we do need an official policy to allow people to apply for a PID.
But we don't have to approve them or anything, right?
You don't have to approve any policy.
Right.
You might never get someone to apply. This just allows somebody that could apply.
Right,
The council can still say no if they do apply.
right.
Yeah, this is just a policy in place that.
That they can apply and we'll look at it and then we can decide. Yeah, that's what I thought I understood.
We're thinking resolution, but it is policy.
Motion is set, still stand. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, why, who made the
I
motion?
lost, I'm sorry.
But, who's Mark made motion? Oh, yeah.
Billy, Brian, you had to ask.
Yes. Just ask who seconded it. All right, next one, Josh, City Main Street Building.
So as council knows, a couple years ago, the city purchased a building on Main Street. City staff went into this building with the intent of remodeling it, repurposing it. From what I understand, once city staff got into it, they realized we're way in over our heads. Construction was stopped. We've had engineers look at it. We've had feedback from everything from tear the building down to it's gonna cost a lot to repurpose it to we can do something here. There's been a lot of things of what we can and cannot do. We do know it's not in great shape. The fire department went and took a look at it. There's some concerns there. The big thing here is the city owns a Main Street building that looks like garbage, just to be kind of blunt. I have shown this building over a dozen times to different interested parties, trying to market it, but I'm being completely honest when I talk to people. Because I tell them you need to see the building, you need to understand what's in there before you move forward with plans. We do have interest from different individuals. However, the city paid approximately $100,000 for it. It is not worth that. So what I've done with council is I've put 3 different options that we're proposing. And I've discussed these with Mayor Bird as well. The first option is we put out an RFP. Put it out to the public, say, okay, public, somebody give us ideas what your interests are. Bob could come and say, I want to open a pizza joint. Samantha could come and say, I want to open a McDonald's. Whatever it is, they can bring their proposal to council, what they're going to offer, what price they're going to offer, what terms council can look that over and pick which is the best beneficial use for the city and award that RFP. That's one option, completely wide open. We do have an individual that already submitted an unsolicited RFP. So we do have one. There is interest from multiple businesses, but the idea behind that is they're going to get something for a lot less than what we paid for it. The second option I have in there is we make this a capital project next year. We put some money into this building, fix it up, turn it into either office space that we use for city staff, or we try to lease it, or sell it once it's done. Just try to get the building done that way, but there does have to be substantial work done. The third option is we put a little bit of money into the facade of the building. And if you go to the next, there's the front picture of the building. If you go to the next 2 pictures, the outside one. So one other one, that one actually doesn't look too bad. Keep going. Right there, that's the outside of the building. There's one more that shows that's right inside the outside door. Needless to say, it looks terrible. And we as a city need to step up to the plate and do what we're asking people to do to fix up the building. So the third option is the most minimal cost. We put a little bit of money into the facade, we fix it up, make it look nice, and then we continue to try to market the building to find somebody to come with a beneficial use. The location is phenomenal. The building is cool. If we can get the right business in there, it'll be a wonderful place. But again, attracting the right business is going to be tough. The neat thing about an RFP is council can decide, do we want a business that's not going to bring any tax revenue? Do we want one that is going to bring tax revenue? Do we want one that's more sustainable? Council gets to determine that. We fixed it up. We know it's in good shape. We sell it. We do the facade. We at least have the impression for the neighbors that it is a decent building. We have things, as you saw, there's benches out front. We try to dress it up a little bit. We try to sweep it every now and then. The downtown trick-or-treating, we actually had city staff in front of this building. We tried to not make it look as bad as it is, but it's in terrible shape. And so right now, we're seeking guidance from council. If your options are, if you want us to do an RFP, we can get started on that right away. We'll have an RFP proposal for you at the next council meeting. If you want a capital project, the large capital project, it would have to be for next year. If you want a small capital project, just to do the facade, we could probably end up doing that this year, next time we open them in the budget. So there truly are lots of options, and they're not limited there.
I'm going to, just looking back, this was purchased, I don't know how into the process of trying to encourage Main Street businesses to fix up their storefronts at least. But that was the idea, is that we could get this building and help that along. So my thoughts are the option of spending a little bit of money fixing up the front, then maybe doing an RFP or selling it or whatever. But as it is now, I think we need to put a little money in to put our money where our mouth is. We own the building. What do we want other people to do with their buildings? Then we should probably do the same.
What's the cost, like, are you thinking, have you got any, just ballpark ideas of, what it would cost to fix it up right as a big project versus what it would cost to just do the facade, like?
The estimates have been all over the place. I know Drew's talked to a couple of contractors on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at $100,000 to completely redo it.
Okay.
Doing the facade, I'm giving some ballpark estimates.
Right, no, I get that.
Maybe 10 to 15,000, or 5 to 15 to do the facade, depending on how much we want to do to make it look right. One thing, if we do the entire building, we got some concerns with the walls, the structural. We can make it say, we have one engineer that requested that we tear the building down. It has 2 shared walls with current businesses, so tearing it down is not really a good option when there's businesses on the other side. However, there are businesses on the other side that does make us concerned. The trusses in the roof are actually in good shape, so we've actually got some good wood on top of some 4 walls. So if we don't do anything, there is a concern that, I'll be honest, I'm concerned that RFPs are gonna be, give me this building and I'll open something up. And honestly, I don't know how good of offers we'll get with an RFP because it is in poor shape. If we do a little bit of work that, if you're familiar with West Valley City, where their city offices are, if you were ever there 20 years ago compared to now, night and day difference. And what happened on that is the city block, there was not sidewalk around the city offices. The city actually had to take the reins, and as Councilman White said, they started to buy property, fix it up, sell it. Buy property, fix it up. And the goal was they were gonna buy the entire block and kind of fix it up and sell it. They got about a third of the way through, and once they started to do it, other businesses got on board. The private industry stepped in and did what they do best, because that is better for private industry. So that is one of the goals, and I think the true intent was a good thing, but I do think we need to be the leader. There's the broken window theory. One business has a broken window, then the next does. Well, the reverse is true. We fix our window, they fix theirs, and we can fix it up that way.
Personally, I like Councilman White's suggestion of let's put a little money into it, get the facade fixed up, let's clean it up a little bit, and then we'll kind of see where we're at from there and whether we do an RFP or whatever, but I kind of like that.
I don't know, oftentimes if you do things in stages, sometimes it works out, sometimes it's not, but either way, if we put 100,000 in it, part of that 100,000 is gonna be the front. So let's just start small and see where it leads.
And just so council's aware, I have had conversations with UB Tech about using this as a project for their students. I was told it could happen in the future depending on if a course needs that, but don't plan on it right now. So if we did it in stages, it is possible, even a small possibility, that there might be a project in the school could come in and do some of the rehab as a school project to move from. So that is a great point.
I mean, I worry that if we RFP, I think that's a great idea, but like you said, they'd go in and just open something up and not fix that up, and that looks pretty rough. So I think we need to put a little bit of money into it and then maybe go into the RFP process.
I think we're in agreement. You don't need a motion, you just need direction, right?
Direction right now, because then I'll bring back,
Right.
modify the budget to do a minor fix up, so yes, direction. Thank you.
Did we say G was stricken off?
I think they asked about you because it was airport related.
General policy is scratched.
Oh, okay.
She's
already taken.
Yeah. She's a.
Kirby, you're up. Airport task order from J to B.
Yes, sir. All right. So I'm here to ask for the approval for task order number 4, JUB Design, Construction and Engineering Service. It's for the fiscal year 2024. It's for the airfield pavement preservation. So as you guys can see here, it's a 90-10 UDOT grant. So out of the $65,750, the city's portion would be $6,575. And so you know, with the council, airport board, we reviewed this in October, and we recommend that city council approves.
Is this something we'd have to open budget up because we haven't budgeted for, or is there funds available?
There are some projects that we had budgeted for, stuccoing and some, cosmetic things that potentially we could take the money and just redirect it.
Well, it's not a lot, relatively speaking, so.
Yes, yes.
Well, even though I said no earlier, Kirby, I move we approve.
A second.
Motion by Don, second by Rowdy. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, I'm not being very formal, but that's just my mind.
You're all good. We're just glad you're doing the mayor pro tem still, Dustin.
All right, city office tree discussion. Dustin Line.
Yes.
I'm going to specify.
I've had comments, where'd the trees go?
Yeah. We're here again talking about the trees. We thought we had everything worked out and approved, but we ran into a little snag and wanted to update you on that. The Blue Station was called in. Dominion Energy has a gas line right underneath where those trees were at. And it was put in 1966. I met with Dominion, and they said they're not very deep at all. In fact, Mr. Ross here actually took out stumps, and they had to be there with him, right?
Yes.
Because they were so concerned about it hitting it. And we only went half of his recommendation. We only went 7 inches on the stumps. And usually it goes about 12. So they strongly recommended not planting trees right there. Just because that gas line is old and it's not very deep. It's like 14, 15 inches. So we need to discuss other options. What we would like to do. Had some great conversations with the staff and had some excellent ideas if you'd like to discuss those options, or there may be some other options that you recommend. But our public works director actually had a great idea of putting an electrical marquee out there on front, where you could put information on when city council was, water shut off, water bills are due, or whatever information you can put out there. And also propose to put zero scape in that section where the grass is now. And then also on the south side by the fire department, do that zero scape as well. And that's a good way for us to conserve water as well. We don't, want to water, grass up there is kind of pointless. So I think it's a good way for us to conserve water as well. But there's just a few recommendations, but I know there's more suggestions or options there. So I don't know if that's something that we want to decide tonight or think about it. Discuss other options.
Did the Questar or Dominion say if that's a line that will need to be replaced anytime soon?
It could possibly, they did say that when I met with them, where it was put in 1966, it's very old, and so that's a possibility, and that's why the trees, they didn't want the trees on top of it. If they needed to get in there, they would have to take the trees out. So
Does it run the like right under the sand, the whole distance about?
it was exactly right underneath.
I would be hesitant then. I like the marquee idea. I'd be a little hesitant putting one in with the idea it could be torn up, like have to be moved. I would rather, I think the marquee is a great idea. I'd rather put it where we're not going to have to worry about that. I think the zero scape's actually a good idea because I think we need to consider water conservation and we should be leading that, and that saves the citizens a little bit of, water. It saves you some time not having to mow a strip that,
Yeah.
so one thing you don't approach. So I personally like the Xeriscape. I don't mind the marquee. And I think with Xeriscape, we're not gonna be as concerned if they have to come dig up that line and,
We can move that rock.
right, exactly. And I think that would be great. Like I said, I'm not anti the marquee. I'm just concerned we put one there and then they say, oh, we have to dig that up. And now you got this, whatever $1,000 sign, whatever it is that you have to pick up. Now, if there's a way to move it safely and stuff out of the way, and if you want to do a little research that way, maybe, I just don't want to put something in and then have to move it,
Maybe we do research, like you said, where we put more towards State Street, or
Right.
maybe we put it back more towards the parking lot. So
Exactly.
just stay right out in the center where the line
Exactly.
is at. I think that's something we need to research.
Comments I've gotten from the public, people like the trees gone, so
Yeah.
it looks really good.
I do too.
Don't need to do much.
Yeah, I haven't heard complaints about them being gone. They were just shocked that they were
Yeah.
like, what happened? So I think the direction is look at the Xeriscape and then maybe just on the sign, just get information about how ideal it is to, move those and, especially with electrical and different things. Cause I don't want Dominion having to come in and have to move something like that and cost us money or have to tear it down and we have to,
Yeah. Okay. I'll get to work on that and hopefully get some more proposals and what else.
Thank you.
All right, Green Lake right away proposal for Rough Rider County H.
Sorry, I'm bringing this back to you. Just a couple of weeks ago, I think we discussed this one, if you remember right. But then I was trying to get approval to move forward with actually doing it. So this is the actual documentation in the map of the location of this right of way. The red line, that's where the original power line is right now at the gun range. And we're wanting to move it to the yellow line, which is kind of following the road. If you've been out there lately, that's the direction of the road, so. And they'll be shooting northeast right there too. So that yellow line, that represents that power line that we're moving, and it'll actually be behind the shooters. We won't need to worry about any transformers getting shot or, yeah, Cody don't want that. Anyhow, it's been reviewed by legal. It's just wanted to make sure, I wanted the final draft approved by you guys, so before we move forward.
How long is this gonna take then, do you think?
I have not received any information as far as the timeline.
Well, they're waiting. I'm sure. I was just curious.
Yeah. I don't know, Cody, what are your thoughts on that? Yeah.
Timeline there.
Yeah, Brandon has mentioned that, but hopefully soon.
Well, we've already discussed this and approved it, so I think we'd approve this as well.
And just for the record, I don't think this is a conflict with voting, but I'm just gonna state for the record that I work for Midnight.
Right.
We need to, yeah, we need to have a motion.
I moved it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Capital project approval, police department, Polk County purchase. Chief, is that any company?
Thanks for your time. This is connected to the project of our command vehicle. You may have saw the UBIC.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a big project, but we've got grant money for it. So the next stage is this telescoping antenna that's portable, and it has a camera that you can put on top, and then from in there, it pans, zooms, and tilts. And this will be available. It's portable, so it can go wherever we need it to go. This stage of it is just over $10,000, which is what I have to bring to council, $10,800. But it is part of the Homeland Security grant that's already been approved. We don't need any money from you guys.
move we approve then. That's nice.
Second that.
Motion by John, second by Cody, all in favor?
I
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're on the long-term debt trustee clarification.
His favorite subject, long-term debt. Okay, so recently, as we've been going through the implementation into Tyler, one of the things that has happened, although it's been a lot of work, we've found a lot of opportunities to fix things, look at things, ask questions about things that kind of get ignored because, we're busy enough with it day to day, but one of the things that Brent and I had talked about before was that we have some bonds more recent that we don't have a trustee for. So I finally talked to Eric Johnson, who is our bond trustee, or bond attorney, and I asked him what we needed to do to get trustees in place for these other bonds, the Hayden Tank and the new projects that we have. To which he said, why do you want them? And I said, okay, as far as I know, it's something that's required by CIB. And he said, no, absolutely not. So he came out, we met with him. We looked at, interestingly enough, the projects that he had worked on when he was with his former firm, we did not have a trustee with. And then once he changed and the city did not move with him immediately to the change that he made, then we started working with the trustee on this. Long story short, we pay right now about $12,500 per year for the trustee to pay our payment for us. And it is not a requirement. Eric can draw up the paperwork to get us out of this trustee agreement, and it's not a problem with CIB. We have spent, in the life of the projects thus far, $171,500 to have the trustee pay our bond payments for us. Not to mention, we have a lot of money that's tied up in reserve accounts and it's interest bearing, so it's not like it's a terrible thing, but what we would be doing is the 8 bonds that are now with the trustee, if we were to end that contract or that agreement to have Zions be the trustee, it will save $110,000 for the city for fees to the termination of those. So those 9 or 8 bonds, I have the paperwork over here. In order for us to do this, it's a little bit cumbersome process to get out of it because each one of them probably have different wording and different requirements. So Eric would have to go through each one of these just to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's and doing everything that we're required to do so that we terminate properly and we don't find ourselves in an issue. He didn't know how long that would take or what it would cost for sure. He just smiled and said, I guarantee it won't be $100,000. I have talked to Grant, and Grant feels like it probably should be something that could be done for $5,000 to $7,500. And so I would really, if you decide you would like to get out of the trustee agreements that we have right now, and the city just will be their own trustee on these and the payments and make the payments on an annual basis, which we do with many newer and older bonds that we have anyway. But if we do that, we could get Mr. Johnson to do this and maybe have a $7,500 cap on, the fees. And then if it looks like it's going to be more than that, he's very good about documenting why that would be, and we could come back and discuss that further. Did I miss anything, Greg?
Do we get any other benefit having a trustee other than them paying the bill for us? Is there any protection or anything like that?
Probably not would be my answer, but that's one thing that we would be asking Eric to look for, is if there's anything stated in these that is a benefit that we would be losing.
And I know sometimes if you, like, get rid of a contract, sometimes there's some sort of fee involved with that. Do any of those have anything like that, where like if we stop the trustee, that we have to pay some sort of?
He didn't think so, and just a little bit that I kind of looked through, I didn't see anything that would indicate that. The only thing that I could see, and, you know, we just need to be diligent about this, which is not an issue. They do make sure that payments are always made in a timely manner. Because every one of these, the interesting thing is every one of these are 0% loans that we have through CIB. But if we continue, right now we have paid the equivalent of 2.5% in fees. And if we continue, we will have paid 4.25%. Which kind of defeats the purpose of a 0% interest loan. But there are stipulations in there that if we're late on an annual payment, they fine us up to, I've seen like 18% on some of them. So, but they're also very good about getting the billing out to us. We can, now with Tyler, have that in there as an automated thing, so we know that every year this is when this payment is due, and I don't see a real big issue with that.
So your recommendation would be to go ahead and pursue this?
Yes, after meeting with Mr. Johnson, I don't see any reason that we're any benefit to the city to continue paying these fees.
Okay, I would move you pursue it, and I would put a 7,500 cap on the pay for his services to do this. And if something comes up and they need a little more, they can come back to us. Is that?
Absolutely, that sounds great.
All right, that's my motion.
I'll second. We have a second by Councilman Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Be nice to save that kind of money, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Fundraising packet plan approval, Josh.
Thank you, Councilman. You have an updated packet before you, and there's one to the screen as well. I've updated this. The first couple of pages, the only change there is Mayor Bird's name has been changed from J.R. Bird to Rod Bird Jr. to reflect his new name. His new political name. But then if you get into the sponsorship opportunities, I kept a lot of those the same, so I'll go through those fairly quick. Facility naming rights, I kept the same. Buildings, the same. Batting cages, I added that with a 5-year. My packet has a blank sheet in there. Yep, an extra sheet, that's okay. A 5-year commitment of $5,000 a year for $25,000 total. I have a dugout sponsorship. I did a 3-year commitment there, $2,000 with a $6,000 total. There's 8 of those available. Benches, these would be not benches in the dugouts, benches scattered throughout the park. People could get their names displayed on that as well. $500, do it 1 year at a time. I just did 5 in there because this would be one if we actually had sponsors. A lot of these would be if we get sponsors, we could do it. The Hometown Hero brick wall, I spoke with Ryan quite a bit about this. We looked at pavers. One of our concerns with pavers is we'll have heavy trucks driving over pavers and it could crack the pavers. So the proposal in the packet is to do a brick wall where people can get their names on a brick. So that's going to location on that. In there, I put $200 per brick. People could fundraise, and we can come up with, we're going to do something for teams or individuals, but Robbie Clower has his own brick there for $200. Then I have future possible additions. These are things that are not planned for the park, but could be, should somebody want to sponsor this. Concession stand, there I have a 5-year commitment. $75,000 would not get us a full-fledged, wonderful concession stand, but if somebody did that proposal, then we bring it back to council. Is this a commitment that we want to pursue? We can look at different styles of the concession stand. So that, again, we're not committed to anything because it's not officially in the plans.
do we have a policy or whatever for like the food trucks if we were, because we talked about allowing them in that center area. Do we have a fee or?
We will have one for them.
But this is different, I understand. This is if we actually build a concession stands where they would then have an actual building to use and.
Yes. Yep. And then I have scoreboards on there as well with a $10,000 a year commitment. Again, we do not have these planned for the ball field, but if somebody wants to come donate $50,000 because they want a scoreboard on a field, then we can incorporate it as well. And then I also added a section of other possible options. If Councilman Allen comes in and he says, I want a camera stand because I'm going to film these games. Yeah. They can add things in there for proposals and those would come for council for final approval. Then also they can propose their desired sponsorship. The complex agreement or sponsorship agreement, I should say, has been reviewed by legal. Grant said he's good with it to go as well. So other than that, this can be a living document as well if we find more stuff that we want to add. What we're seeking tonight is approval of this document so that Ryan, myself, and the mayor can get out, and of course, any of you are definitely highly encouraged, not alone invited, to start hitting up some of the bigger donors in the area, doing personal visits so we can start advertising for this fundraising campaign. And again, it is a living document, so we can add stuff in the future.
Thank you, Josh. Any comments from the council?
I'll move we approve it. I didn't want Don to get this.
I was gonna let you go.
I'll second.
Because it's been your baby anyway. So.
All right. Motion. Councilman Allen.
Take us a minute, we gotta get it raised now.
Thanks for all your work on it.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our favorite part of the day, municipal code review, titles 1, 2, 3, 4, and 13.
Okay, we'll keep it pretty simple for tonight. Originally, we were wanting to bring these codes back, or the titles back to you this meeting for some stringent review and approval potentially next meeting. The RCC group, Mike Hansen and Kendall Welsh, was going to be here tonight. They are in Ballard to a meeting, so they'll be here the first week of December's meeting. So I would recommend studying these in the next month.
So
having recommendations for next month.
I would like, as I looked over these, it says those marked in green are done. Those marked in yellow are something that we have to make a decision on and decide how we want it to be. Red are suggestions that we don't want to include or whatever, but there wasn't a whole lot in yellow. And so my thought was if we focused on getting that wording right, shouldn't take it long.
And if you just focus on the policy discussion catalogs, that would be the focal point. I think you can get very overwhelmed in doing the whole thing, and it's really not necessary.
I think that's in my thought, and I hate looking at these because I fall asleep.
Right.
That's what we paid them to read through and find any mistakes and problems which they've done. They just need our input on these certain wording issues, and I feel comfortable with that. I speak for everyone, but that's my view.
Yeah, I agree with Councilman White. I think the only thing I would say is I'd really like, we've been waiting a while on this. I'd really like to at least see if we could address even a couple of them next meeting and not wait a month. I know you said look over a month, but I mean, we've looked through them. You know, obviously we can go back and look at it again and make notes, but I'd like to proceed and at least get a couple even done at the next meeting. If we can do more than that, great, but I think sooner or later, because the big one aren't these, the big one's the planning and zoning.
Land use ones, and they're going through the process through planning and zoning right now. Tomorrow, we are having a work session on titles 15 and 16.
Right.
So we will potentially have those ready for your review as well in December. And speaking, and Kendall and Mike will outline their proposed plan as far as this is the outline to get this wrapped up by February, March.
I guess I wasn't thinking, I know Thanksgiving's probably that Tuesday. I don't know if we're gonna, I mean, I'm open to having council that Tuesday, but if it's gonna be a problem with holiday,
It's also election day.
it's also election night.
The city manager report.
So maybe we'll have to wait anyway till December anyway, so.
But if the direction would be to review these titles for next meeting, that would be.
I would like to review before then, and then let's make sure we get at least some of these passed and going so that it's done.
If I remember, there were a couple of them that didn't have much at all.
Yeah,
If I can, I'll just jump ahead a little bit. Part of the city manager report is election day is not today. Hopefully everybody knows that. But we do need to set a date to certify our election. And that would be the week after Thanksgiving. And so what our proposal is we meet together to certify the election the week after Thanksgiving. And we could discuss it then if you want, rather than having the council meeting right before Thanksgiving and meeting again right after. We have a certain time frame we need to meet together to certify. So that was our recommendation, is that we set the certification date for the election, correct? Week after
We can call it
Thanksgiving.
canvassing. Yes.
Canvassing.
What did I say?
Canvassing.
Canvassing, sorry, thank you.
so you're thinking November 28th, that Tuesday, which would be after the election date of the 21st, and then we could also meet that day?
I just want to make sure staff's putting that date works.
The requirement is that it's no more than 7 days after the 21st. So,
No sooner than 7 days.
yeah, I'm sorry, no sooner than 7 days and no more than 14 days. In speaking with the county elections official, they did recommend sort of giving us as much leeway as possible, maybe pushing it to like 10 or 12 days. Just because historically there have been ballots that are postmarked appropriately and should be counted, but that do come in on that 7 or 8 day mark. So kind of at everyone's discretion here. So doing it on the 28th would meet that requirement, but it might be prudent to push it.
And I hadn't thought about it, but mail is going to be delayed because of the Thanksgiving
Right.
holiday as well, so taking.
Yeah, my only concern, I can't do it. I mean, you don't need me here, I guess, but Wednesday,
We do need a quorum.
yeah, I know that. I don't know that you need me here, but I could not do it other than a Tuesday, just because of my schedule, so I could do it on Friday, but that's not usually good for people, so.
Sunshine is December 5th, fit within the time frame.
28th is 7 days, December 5th. So that would be the very last day that we can do it. So yes, that would fit within the timeframe.
Could do that at the regular.
December 5th, I would say, let's just plan to do it at a regular council meeting. And then I'm open to whatever on the 21st, if you have something to that, given it's Thanksgiving week.
And what our proposal is for the 21st is we don't officially cancel anything, just in case something comes up and we need to meet. But if anything can wait, we'll wait till the next council meeting, but we're not gonna, we prefer not to cancel it just in case of an emergency or something comes up.
Okay. That sounds like a good plan.
And I have one more item on city manager report, if you, okay, if you going on there. Yep. Okay, this is very important, one of the most important things we do. Right, like it. If you will please mark on your calendar, December 6th, 5:30 p.m. That is our winter celebration party that we have. We are changing things up a little bit this year. You will get an official invitation to this event as well. We are going to have this be a little bit more of an intimate event, and then after the holiday season, we're going to have a separate one where we invite the part-time employees as well. It'll be a very low-cost family after winter celebration party. So we will have a date for that one as well. So this one will be for full-time employees only. Absolutely, council, please make sure you are included, and they're +1. December 6th at 5:30. It will be at the new library. We have some scheduling conflict. Crossroads was great, it was not on their end. But Daniel at the library is fantastic. He's letting us use the room there. So we're gonna have it at the library December 6th at 5:30. Very
You might
important.
be able to make that end of the semester, they're tired of listening to me anyway, so. Not that they listen now, but then they're definitely tired.
Any questions there?
Do you have anything more for your report?
Not there, just a lot of things going on, going forward. We are doing an enchanted tree fundraiser, for our big capital projects. We're trying to do a lot of things there. It is fishing themed. You can see it in Ryan's office. He was very proactive and got a Christmas tree up, first person in the entire building. He even beat Rhonda, or someone else's office is near hers. But he did have the first one up. So we are doing that fundraiser again this year, so if you'd like to be part of it, please let us know. But we've got quite a few donations as well. Doing quite fantastic. Okay, thank you.
Looks like we skipped over expenditure approval. Did everyone get a chance?
Do we have a city attorney or is that not on there?
Well, mine's crossed off for some reason.
Yes. Hopefully we'll have a resolution as well.
Okay,
I know Mayor Bird's been working on that one for grants. Next meeting,
Okay.
well, hopefully.
I move we approve the financials, I looked through those and signed them, so.
Second.
You get both of those. Committee reports. Do you have anything?
Do we have capital project updates or just the one? Okay. I don't have any committee reports.
I don't have anything. So. Any items for future discussion that we need to
No.
talk about?
I move we go into closed session for the purpose listed in Utah Code 52-4-205-1D.
Second.
Councilman Allen, all in favor?
You have to do
Don?
a aye.
Aye. Second.
Sunshine, I'd like to make a clarification. I wasn't thinking, I got caught up in the school district thing and I made a motion. Would you please include my conflict of interest on that motion so there's no problem? And I'll try to remember not to vote Thursday when they vote. I got caught up in the motion and the stuff without thinking, and I said I wasn't gonna vote, and then I ended up doing it, so.
It's not.
Anything else? I move we adjourn.
Second. Favor?
Bye.
Oh, that's